Ever notice when Caitlin Clark is the victim, she never plays the role of the victim? She spoke up publicly for the first time since Alyssa Thomas came out publicly and said she's been getting death threats to her and her family, and there has been racial slurs thrown at her.
Alyssa Thomas just got exposed by an ESPN legend who finally stopped playing nice, and the entire WNBA establishment is scrambling to contain the damage. Linda Cohn, the absolute icon who carried ESPN through its glory years before the network became a clickbait factory, just torched the league from top to bottom in a way that nobody inside the corporate walls would ever dare. She called out the officials. She called out the victim narratives. She called out the players who ranked Caitlin Clark 11th among guards, despite her putting up over 21 points and 8 assists per game. And she did it all with the kind of surgical precision that only comes when you have spent decades biting your tongue and finally decide you are done protecting people who do not deserve it. Welcome back. This is Channel Name, and today we are documenting the exact moment the most respected voice in sports media history decided to light a match and walk away from the WNBA dumpster fire she just created. Let me be entirely clear with every single person watching this video. Linda Cohn is not some hot take artist chasing engagement. She is not Stephen A. Smith screaming into a camera for clicks. She is not Ryan Clark race baiting for retweets. Linda Cohn is the woman who anchored SportsCenter when it actually mattered, when ESPN offered something of substance instead of the manufactured outrage circus it has become. And the fact that she waited until after leaving the network to say what she really thinks tells you everything you need to know about what ESPN would not let her say while she was still on the payroll. Before I show you exactly what Linda said, and trust me, you are going to want to hear this with your own ears, I need you to understand the context that the mainstream media is deliberately hiding from you. Alyssa Thomas recently came out publicly claiming she has been receiving death threats and racial slurs, serious allegations, horrifying allegations if they are true, but here is the part nobody on TV wants to talk about. Linda Cohn asked the one question that should have been asked from day one. Has Alyssa Thomas reported any of this to the police? Has she reported it to the FBI? Because if these threats are real, law enforcement will find who is responsible. They have the tools, they have the resources, they will track it down. But if she has not reported it and there is zero evidence she has, then we need to have a very different conversation about what is actually happening here. And while Alyssa Thomas is playing the victim card, Caitlin Clark, who gets mauled, elbowed, hip-checked, and throat-punched on a nightly basis, refuses to make herself the victim. She takes the high road every single time. She did it with Angel Reese. She did it with Chennedy Carter. She did it with Johnny Carrington, and she is doing it now. Caitlin Clark just spoke up publicly for the first time since the Alyssa Thomas controversy erupted, and what did she say? She said this kind of behavior cannot happen to any player in the league. No matter the situation, pure class, pure professionalism. But she also, and I love this, she also told the league to get better at communicating and subtly called out the officiating. Subtly, because Caitlin knows if she says it with an exclamation point, the league will fine her into oblivion. So let me say it with an exclamation point for her. The bad officiating in the WNBA has led to most of this controversy. Most of this. And I am not just talking about missed calls. I am talking about an agenda. I am talking about referees being told how to call these games, who to call tight, who not to call tight, who to referee strictly, who to let play physical. You think that is a conspiracy theory? Watch the games. Watch how Caitlin gets officiated compared to everyone else. Watch how Alyssa Thomas can lead the league in assists while also leading the league in dribble handoffs and uncalled moving screens. The officiating is not incompetent, it is deliberate, and that brings us to what Linda Cohn just said. The woman who has seen it all, who has called it down the middle for decades, who has earned the right to speak her mind without fear. Don't take my word for it. Linda said it herself. Watch this.
Congratulations to Caitlin Clark. 3 straight years named and voted an All-Star Game starter. That's the great news. Second most votes by the fans for Caitlin Clark. The media, third most votes for Caitlin Clark by members of the media.
She said it with cameras rolling. After everything we just watched this season, Linda Cohn looked into the lens and said Caitlin Clark never plays the victim even though she is the victim, and then asked Alyssa Thomas point blank if she reported the alleged threats to law enforcement. Let me say it back to you in case you missed the weight of that moment. Linda Cohn just did what every single mainstream media member has refused to do. She asked for receipts. She asked for proof. She asked for accountability. And the silence from Alyssa Thomas and the Phoenix Mercury in response has been deafening, calculated, and entirely predictable. You want to know why Linda waited until after she left ESPN to say this? Because ESPN would have benched her the second those words left her mouth. They would have issued a corporate apology. They would have sent her to sensitivity training. They would have made her grovel in front of the WNBA establishment and beg for forgiveness. But Linda does not work for them anymore. She does not have to play their game anymore. And the result is the most honest 7 minutes of WNBA commentary we have heard all year. Here is what Linda exposed that nobody else will touch. Caitlin Clark just became an all-star starter for the third straight year. She got the second most votes from the fans. She got the third most votes from the media. But when the WNBA players voted, they ranked her 11th. 11th, among guards, let that sink in for a second. The player who is averaging over 21 points per game and over 8 assists per game, numbers that put her in the top 5 in both offensive production and playmaking ability, got ranked 11th by her peers. Not 10th, not 9th. 11th. You know what that tells me? It tells me the players in that league do not care about basketball. They care about protecting their egos. They care about making sure the white girl from Iowa does not get too much credit for saving their dying league. I have been saying this for months, and I have the receipts in my last 3 videos. The WNBA old guard hates Caitlin Clark. They hated her before she ever stepped on a professional court. And they hate her even more now that she is proving she belongs at the top. They want to run her out of the league the same way they ran out Candace Wiggins. The same way they ran out Alina Del Don. The same way they ran out Maya Moore. And yeah, Maya said she left for prison reform work, but if she loved the WNBA that much, she would have come back. She did not. She said, I came, I saw, I conquered, and I am dipping out of this abomination. And Linda Cohn just confirmed what we have all been watching. Caitlin Clark is the only WNBA player who refuses to make herself a victim even though she gets victimized nightly. That is a direct quote. Linda said it. The most respected anchor in ESPN history looked at the WNBA and said the quiet part out loud. Caitlin is getting brutalized on the court. And instead of crying to the media about death threats that may or may not exist, she goes out and drops 21-8 and leads her team to wins. Now let's talk about the Phoenix Mercury, because this is where it gets absolutely insane. The Mercury social media team, clearly in full damage control mode, put out a post trying to hype up Alyssa Thomas and all of her assists. They tried to make it seem like she is this incredible playmaker who deserves to be the league leader. And Caitlin Clark fans absolutely obliterated them in the comments. I am talking scorched earth. I am talking receipts, film breakdowns, advanced metrics, the whole arsenal. Let me show you what the fans said, because this is the part the mainstream media will never show you. The top comment: who is the league leader in assists? Alyssa Thomas. She's a lying thug. Those aren't real assists. She has no basketball skill. Brutal, absolutely brutal, but they did not stop there. The next comment: dribble handoff, dribble handoff, dribble handoff, dribble handoff, damn, a dribble handoff merchant. And they are right, go watch the tape. Half of Alyssa Thomas's assists are dribble handoffs at the top of the key where she hands the ball to a shooter and the shooter does all the work. That is not playmaking, that is a glorified screen. But it gets better. Another comment said, she misses games because she takes out the competition. Damn, another one said leads the league in assaults too. Another said also league leader in throat crushing. These are not random trolls. These are fans who have been watching Alyssa Thomas play physical, borderline dirty basketball all season and get away with it because the officials refuse to call it. And now that she is trying to play the victim, the fans are not having it. They are bringing the receipts, they are bringing the film, they are bringing the stats that prove her assists are inflated and her reputation is unearned. One more comment that I absolutely loved. If dribble handoffs didn't count as assists, her assists are just passing. That is it. That is the whole game. Alyssa Thomas is not Chris Paul. She is not setting up teammates with no-look passes and surgical precision. She is handing the ball off and letting someone else do the work. And the fact that the Phoenix Mercury tried to defend her and got absolutely roasted for it tells you everything you need to know about how the fan base feels. And here is the kicker. Linda Cohn did not just call out Alyssa Thomas. She called out the entire league. She said, and I am paraphrasing here because I want to make sure you understand the full weight of what she meant. She said the WNBA officials are operating on behalf of the commissioner. They get told who to call tight. They get told who not to call tight. They get told who to referee strictly and who to let play physical. Linda Cohn just accused the WNBA of having an agenda without saying the words the WNBA has an agenda. That is the kind of surgical media criticism that only someone with 30+ years of experience can pull off. Let me show you the second clip. Because this is where Linda absolutely destroys the narrative that Caitlin is overrated.
Caitlin Clark is the only WNBA player not to make herself a victim, even though she is mauled nightly. Oh yeah, that's a mic drop right there. That's a mic.
3 straight years, 3 named and voted an all-star starter, 2nd most votes by the fans, 3rd most votes by the media, and the players ranked her 11th. Linda just laid out the numbers that prove the WNBA players are sabotaging Caitlin Clark's reputation because they cannot stand the fact that she is better than them. 21 points per game, over 8 assists per game. Not many players in the league rank in the top 5 in both categories. Offensive production and playmaking ability. That is what Caitlin Clark is, and the players who voted her 11th, they are telling you they do not care about basketball. They care about protecting their egos and their status. Linda Cohn ended her commentary with one final question that should haunt every WNBA player who participated in that vote. Why do WNBA players continue to bite the hand that feeds them? That is not a rhetorical question. That is an indictment. Caitlin Clark is the reason the WNBA is getting record attendance, record viewership, record merchandise sales, and record media deals. She's the reason little girls are showing up to games wearing number 22 Indiana Fever jerseys. She is the reason ESPN is actually covering the league instead of burying it on ESPN2 at 2 in the afternoon. And the players in that league ranked her 11th because they are too bitter, too jealous, and too small-minded to admit that she is the best thing that has ever happened to them. I made a video 3 weeks ago breaking down exactly why the WNBA old guard hates Caitlin Clark, and everything Linda just said confirms what I have been telling you. The league does not want her to succeed. The officials do not protect her. The players do not respect her. And the media, outside of legends like Linda Cohn and Christine Brennan, refuses to call it out. But the fans see it. The fans know. And the fans are not staying silent anymore. Now let me escalate this for you, because what Linda exposed is not just about one player or one vote. This is about a systemic pattern of behavior that has been poisoning the WNBA for years. Let me walk you through exactly how this has played out across multiple incidents this season, and you tell me if you see the pattern. The WNBA players had one job when they cast their all-star votes: rank the best players in the league based on performance, skill, and impact. That is it. No politics, no personal feelings, no jealousy, just basketball. And what did they do? They ranked Caitlin Clark, the player averaging 21 points and 8 assists per game, the player who has single-handedly dragged the Indiana Fever into playoff contention, the player who is breaking attendance records in every arena she visits. They ranked her 11th among guards. Not first, not second, not even top 10. 11th. You want to know what that is? That is not a basketball decision. That is sabotage. That is a coordinated effort by the old guard to diminish Caitlin's accomplishments and make sure she does not get the recognition she has earned. And the most infuriating part, they did it knowing the fans and the media would overrule them. They did it knowing Caitlin would still make the all-star team. They did it purely to send a message. We do not want you here, we do not respect you, and we are going to make sure everyone knows it. Linda Cohn called it out. The fans called it out. And now the players who participated in that vote have to live with the fact that their petness is on the record forever. Let me take you back, because the all-star vote is not an isolated incident. It is the latest chapter in a months-long campaign to marginalize Caitlin Clark and make her feel unwelcome in the league. Remember the Kennedy Carter cheap shot? Caitlin got blindside hip check to the ground, no basketball play. And the officials did not even review it for a flagrant. Remember John I. Carrington poking her in the eye? No call, no apology. Just Carrington laughing about it on social media while Caitlin had to leave the game with blurred vision. Remember Angel Reese taunting her after every made basket, trying to get under her skin, trying to bait her into a reaction that would get her suspended? 3 incidents. 3. Let that sink in. 3 times this season, Caitlin Clark has been targeted by opposing players with physical or psychological tactics designed to take her out of her game. 3 times the officials did nothing. 3 times the league stayed silent. 3 times Caitlin took the high road, kept her mouth shut, and let her game do the talking. And what did the players do in response? They ranked her 11th in the all-star voting. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern. That is the WNBA old guard trying to run Caitlin out of the league the same way they ran out Candace Wiggins, who went public about being bullied for being straight. The same way they ran out Alina Del Don, who dealt with constant injuries and a toxic team environment in Washington. The same way they pushed out Maya Moore, who conveniently found a prison reform project to dedicate her life to right when she should have been entering her prime. If Maya loved the WNBA that much, she would have come back. She did not. She said, I came, I saw, I conquered, and I am out. That tells you everything. Now let's talk about the people who are letting this happen, because Alyssa Thomas is not operating in a vacuum. The Phoenix Mercury front office is enabling her. The WNBA officiating crew is enabling her. The mainstream media is enabling her. And Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is enabling all of them by refusing to address the blatant double standard in how Caitlin Clark gets officiated compared to everyone else. The Mercury put out that social media post trying to hype up Alyssa Thomas's assists, knowing full well that half of them are dribble handoffs. They knew the fans would roast them. They did it anyway because they are trying to control the narrative. They are trying to make Alyssa look like a victim and Caitlin look like the villain, even though the tape proves the opposite. The officials, they have been told, and Linda Cohn basically confirmed this, they have been told by the league office who to call tight and who to let play physical. You think it is a coincidence that Caitlin gets mauled on every drive and the whistle stays silent, but if she so much as brushes a defender on the perimeter, it is an automatic foul.
Ever notice when Caitlin Clark is the victim, she never plays the role of the victim? She spoke up publicly for the first time since Alyssa Thomas came out publicly and said she's been getting death threats to her and her family, and there has been racial slurs thrown at her.
That is not incompetence. That is instruction. That is the league trying to slow her down because they know if she plays at full speed with full protection, she will be unanimous MVP and nobody else will even be close. And the media, outside of Linda Cohn and Christine Brennan, nobody is calling this out. Stephen A. Smith is too busy race baiting. Shannon Sharp is too busy chasing clicks. The ESPN talking heads are too afraid of getting canceled by the WNBA establishment to say what everyone can see with their own eyes. And every single one of them stayed silent when the players ranked Caitlin 11th. Every single one. Receipts coming. So what has this cost Caitlin Clark? Let me spell it out for you, because this is not just about hurt feelings or media narratives. This is about what she has sacrificed while the league she is saving tries to tear her down. She has lost the ability to play her game without fear of injury. Every time she drives to the basket, she knows she is going to get hit. and she knows the officials are not going to protect her. She has lost the respect of her peers, who ranked her 11th even though her numbers are top 5 in the league. She has lost the benefit of the doubt in the media, where every mistake gets magnified and every accomplishment gets minimized. And she has lost the joy of being a rookie, because instead of celebrating her arrival in the WNBA, she has had to spend the entire season defending herself against manufactured controversies and bad faith accusations. That is what Caitlin Clark's prime is being burned for. Not wins, not championships, not legacy. She's being burned so that Alyssa Thomas can pretend to be a victim, so that Angel Reese can claim she is just as good, so that the WNBA old guard can protect their egos and their status. And the saddest part, Caitlin is still dominating. She is still putting up 21-8. She is still leading the Fever to wins. She is still selling out arenas. She is still doing everything the league asked her to do and more. And they still ranked her 11th. Linda Cohn sees it. Christine Brennan sees it. The fans see it. And now, finally, the rest of the world is starting to see it too. Let me show you one more clip, because this is the moment Linda Cohn delivered the knockout punch that nobody on ESPN would ever be allowed to say.
Congratulations to Caitlin Clark. 3 straight years named and voted an All-Star Game starter. That's the great news. Second most votes by the fans for Caitlin Clark. The media, third most votes for Caitlin Clark by members of the media.
Mic drop, absolute mic drop. Caitlin Clark is the only WNBA player not to make herself a victim even though she is mauled nightly. Linda Cohn just said what every single person watching this league has been thinking for months. Caitlin gets hit harder than anyone. She gets fouled more than anyone. She gets targeted more than anyone. And she never complains. She never cries to the media. She never plays the victim card. She just goes out and hoops. Meanwhile, Alyssa Thomas claims she is getting death threats and racial slurs, but there is zero evidence she has reported any of it to law enforcement. Zero. And the media is treating her like a hero for speaking out, while Caitlin, who actually is getting brutalized on the court every single night, gets called a crybaby anytime she even mentions the officiating. Linda Cohn just exposed the double standard that the WNBA has been hiding all season. And the fact that she waited until after she left ESPN to say it tells you everything you need to know about what the network would not let her say while she was still getting a paycheck from them. Now let me give you my verdict, because I am not just going to tell you what happened. I am going to tell you exactly what is going to happen next. And I want every single person watching this video to save this timestamp so you can come back and check my predictions when they come true. If Alyssa Thomas does not produce receipts, police reports, FBI case numbers, screenshots of the alleged threats within the next 2 weeks, her credibility is finished. The fans are already calling her out. Linda Cohn just called her out, and now the pressure is on. If she cannot prove that these threats exist, then everyone is going to assume she made them up to deflect from the fact that she is a dirty player who leads the league in uncalled fouls. Mark this video, 2 weeks. If she does not produce receipts, I want every single person to come back and tell me I was right. Angel Reese can grab all the rebounds she wants. The media can hype her up all they want. But when the votes come in, Caitlin Clark is going to win Rookie of the Year, and it is not going to be close. She is averaging more points, more assists, more win shares, and more impact than any rookie in WNBA history. The only question is whether the voters have the guts to make it unanimous, or if a few bitter old guard members are going to throw a pity vote to Angel just to make a statement. Save this clip. When the award is announced, come back and tell me if I nailed it. Linda Cohn just put the league on notice. She said the officials are being told how to call games, and she implied there is an agenda. The WNBA cannot ignore that. They are going to have to respond. And my prediction is that within the next 3 weeks, the league is going to issue some kind of memo or press release about officiating consistency and player safety and all the corporate buzzwords they use when they get caught doing something shady. It will not change anything on the court, but it will give them plausible deniability. Watch for it. It is coming. Linda Cohn just fired the first shot. Christine Brennan is going to fire the second. Brennan has been covering the WNBA for decades, and she has been dropping hints all season that she knows more than she is saying. My prediction, within the next month, Brennan is going to publish a long-form article in USA Today or the Washington Post that exposes the full extent of the WNBA agenda against Caitlin Clark. She's going to name names, she's going to cite sources, she's going to provide receipts, and when that article drops, the league is going to have to answer for it. Mark this video 1 month. If I am right, come back and roast me if I am wrong. This is the big one. The Fever are currently in playoff position, and they are going to stay there. Caitlin Clark is going to drag that team into the postseason, and when she gets there, she is going to put on a show. I am predicting 25 points per game in the first round. I am predicting she will break multiple playoff records. I am predicting she will prove once and for all that she is not just the best rookie in the league, she is one of the best players in the league, period. And when that happens, every single player who ranked her 11th is going to have to live with the fact that they were wrong. Save this video, check back in September. If I am right, I want the receipts in the comments. Here is the closing emotional beat because I want you to understand what we are witnessing in real time. Caitlin Clark is out there right now, tonight, tomorrow night, every night for the rest of the season, doing the thing that every hater said she could not do. She is dominating a professional league. She is leading her team to wins, she is selling out arenas, she is breaking records, she is proving that she belongs at the top. And she is doing it all while getting mauled by defenders, sabotaged by officials, disrespected by her peers, and vilified by the media. And she is not complaining, she is not playing the victim, she is not crying about death threats that may or may not exist, she is just hooping. That is what greatness looks like, that is what Linda Cohn just recognized. And that is what the WNBA old guard is terrified of. Now here is what I need from you. Drop your most honest take in the comments. Is Caitlin Clark the best player in the WNBA right now, or is the old guard right to rank her 11th? Pick a side, defend it. I want to see the debate. And while you are down there, save this comment. I just predicted Caitlin will average 25 points per game in the first round of the playoffs. If I am right by September, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me. I will own it. Tag the friend who keeps telling you Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark. Make them watch this video. Make them explain how Angel's stat-padding rebounds are more valuable than Caitlin's 21 points and 8 assists. I will wait. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow we are going to break down the latest Indiana Fever game film and show you exactly how the officials are sabotaging Caitlin on every single possession. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit the bell. You do not want to miss this. This is channel name. We will see you in the next video.
Caitlin Clark is the only WNBA player not to make herself a victim, even though she is mauled nightly. Oh yeah, that's a mic drop right there. That's a mic